Namaste students, in the last video we discussed regarding states of matter, that is the gaseous state part 1 up to Boyle's law discussed, and the today's discussion on same continuation of the gas law, Charles law, Avogadro's law, Dalton's law of partial pressure, and then Graham's law of diffusion, and those remaining gas law that is to be discussed. Let us go with Charles law. So Charles law says that the statement is very simple. It says that volume of a given mass of gas, okay, volume of a given mass of gas is directly proportional to mass of a gas is directly proportional to temperature, okay, directly proportional to temperature at constant pressure. It says that volume of a given mass of gas is directly proportional to the temperature, and that is observed at a constant pressure. So that is a statement of Charles law. And if write in terms of equation, so volume of a given mass of gas is directly proportional to temperature at constant pressure. So V directly proportional to T. And if write in terms of a formula, V equal to, remove proportionality symbol by putting constant, let us say constant K into T. So this is one of the equations where we find V equal to K into T. Or if you bring T to the denominator part, we find V divided by T is exactly equal to constant K. So volume divided by temperature is exactly equal to constant. So this is the ultimate formula for Charles law. Suppose a gas present at two different states, then what is the relation observed? Suppose a gas that is present at two different states, let us say two different states, the first state and the other one is second state, then V1 is the volume of that gas at the first state, similarly T1 is the temperature. Similarly, if the gas present, same gas present in the second state, V2 is the volume and then T2 is the temperature. Then what about the Charles law? So for the first gas, it is of first state V1 divided by T1, it is observed as a constant K, and at state T second state, then V2 divided by T2 again is a constant K. Remember, same gas present in two different states. Thus that K remains constant, K values remains constant for a particular gas, and if right hand sides are same, left hand side is also same. As from this it is, so we find one more equation, V1 T1, that is exactly equal to K, and that is exactly equal to V2 divided by T2. So this is the another formula used to find in case of a Charles law. V1 by T1 equal to V2 divided by T2. So V directly proportional to T, or V equal to K into T, and V by T, that is equal to constant K. Suppose a same gas present at two different conditions of temperature and volume. Let us say V1 and T1 are the temperature and volume in the first state, and V2 T2 are the temperature and volume in the second state. Then V1 by T1 equal to constant K, V2 by T2 equal to constant K. For a gas, constant is remains same, no change. As that from these two we find V1 by T1 equal to V2 by T2. So that is the formula one can find in case of a Charles law. So mainly tells about volume directly proportional to temperature. Let us go for the plots, or you can say graphical representation. Plots. There are different plots are there. The first plot with respect to a plot or a graph, plot of volume versus temperature. Volume versus temperature. So here it is observed that if you take along y-axis volume value and along x-axis temperature values, then what you find? According to statement, it is observed that as the volume increases, temperature also increases, or as the temperature increases, volume also goes on increases. And here it is observed that suppose the temperature in terms of Kelvin, then it is 0, and we get a graph that will passing through the origin. A straight line plot one can find. And also from this we can say it looks like y equal to m into x plus c. There is no intercept. No intercept means that straight line should be passes through the origin. And then x-axis temperature value is taken, y-axis volume value is taken. if you find the area under the curve, this will indicate the m nothing but the slope, that is exactly equal to k. So we get straight line plot for this temperature and volume value. Clear? So that is for volume versus temperature, and temperature in terms of a Kelvin. If the temperature is in Kelvin. Suppose if the temperature is present in terms of a degree centigrade, then volume versus temperature, but temperature is present in a degree centigrade, then we get a graph like that. So this is the temperature value in degree centigrade, and then this is the volume value. So here it is observed that graph will not passing through the origin. In a degree centigrade, this is a 0 degree centigrade, this is the negative value, this is 0 degree, and this is the positive value. Remember, temperature, if it is 0 degree, then volume never equal to 0. As a result, we get a plot like that. This is the straight line observed, and if you extra plot this graph, so that will mean here. So this temperature is minus 273.15 degrees centigrade. So minus 273.15 degrees centigrade. At this temperature, the volume becomes 0. Okay, and this temperature now it is called absolute temperature. It is called as a absolute temperature. Remember, students, a gas at 0 degree centigrade, it is not shows 0 volume, but a gas at minus 273.15 degrees centigrade only, the gas shows 0 volume, or volume occupied by that gas becomes 0. And this particular region is now called as a volume, and that molar volume, that is called as a molar volume. It occupies a value 22.4 liter. Okay. So this particular volume value at 0 degree centigrade, that is nothing but standard temperature. So at 0 degree centigrade means standard temperature. At a standard temperature, volume occupied by that gas. So this particular gas is nothing but molar volume. That molar volume of a gas is 22.4 liters. So this is the another graph. Remember, a graph observed, straight line passing through origin if temperature in Kelvin, and straight line will not pass through origin, and that will after extrapolating it will show 0 value at minus 273.15 degrees centigrade, and that is observed if you plot in degree centigrade. So this is in Kelvin temperature, but this is in degree centigrade. So these two graphs I have to remember. Students, let us go for the next law, that is Avogadro's law. So Avogadro's law given by Avogadro. And according to Avogadro's law, it says that if different gases are present for about 1 mole, then the volume occupied by those 1 moles of different gases is the same. So the statement of this Avogadro's law is volume occupied by 1 mole of different gases are found to be it is same. So it is observed that volume occupied by different gases are found to be it is same. Okay. Or simply we can say volume occupied by volume of a mole of gas is found to be same, okay, at constant conditions of temperature and pressure, at constant temperature and pressure. Or simply we can say equal volume of all gas occupies equal number of molecules. It is also considered in another way, equal volume of, okay, equal volume of different gases, equal volume of different gases contains same number of molecules, contains same number of molecules. There are two different ways we can state. Okay, the first one, volume of a mole of a gas is found to be same at constant temperature and pressure, and in that 1 mole you know Avogadro's number, and that occupies the volume same, equal volume of different gases contains same number of molecules. So it is observed that 1 mole of a gas contains Avogadro's number of gas molecule. What is that Avogadro's number? 6.022 into 10 to the power of 23 number of gas molecules are there, and that will occupies a volume of 22.4 liter at a constant temperature and pressure at STP. standard temperature and pressure, that is 273 Kelvin temperature. At the same time, pressure is going to be 1 atmospheric pressure. At constant conditions of temperature and pressure, that is a steady condition, 1 mole of the gas occupies the same volume, 22.4 liter, and that equal volume of all different gas contains same number of molecules. That means whatever this sequence is there, that sequence is expressed in terms of a statement that is given by Avogadro's law. And how it is expressed relation? It says that equal volume of all gas contains same number of gaseous molecule or same number of moles. Okay, so we directly proportional to M. So that is observed at constant temperature at the same time and pressure. You know, as temperature changes, volume also changes, and as the pressure changes, so volume also changes. At constant temperature and pressure, volume of shown by different gases contains same number of molecules. So we directly proportional to M. Okay, or we can say at 20 to 73 Kelvin temperature, at the same time 1 atmospheric pressure, so volume occupied, that is nothing but 22.4 liter. But if the temperature is same 273 Kelvin, but the pressure is going to be 1 baric pressure, so volume now it is going to be, that is 22.7 liter. Remember, at 1 atmospheric pressure, if pressure is 1 atmosphere, then what is the volume occupied by that 1 mole of gas? 22.4 liter. Or in other words, we can say 22,400 centimeter cube. Clear? But if the pressure is 1 baric, not 1 atmosphere, 1 baric, then its value 22.7 liter, or we can say 22,700 centimeter cube. Remember, 1 atmospheric pressure and 1 baric pressures are not equal. Clear? 1 atmospheric pressure and 1 baric pressure are not at all equal. It is observed that 1 baric pressure is 0.987 atmospheric pressure. If 1 atmospheric pressure and 1 baric pressures are same, then this volume is the same. But 1 baric and 1 atmospheric pressures are not same. That is why marginally that difference observed. But for all practical calculations purpose, we go with 1 atmospheric pressure rather than baric pressure. That is why I am solving problem, molar volume or a volume for 1 mole of a gas is taken as a 22.4 liter. In that Vm nothing but molar volume. It is called as a molar volume. That is volume occupied by 1 mole of a gas. So this is regarding Avogadro's law. V directly proportional to N. Students, let's go with another gas law, that is Dalton's law of partial pressure. You know, Dalton is famous for introducing atomic theory. He says that atoms are the smallest part of a substance, and he also gives with respect to this. He also studied with respect to the gas, and he given one of the law called Dalton's law of partial pressure. So with respect to the pressure of a gas, he stated one gas law. So this is applicable. First point you have to remember, Dalton's law of partial pressure is applicable for a mixture of non-reactive gas. Remember, mixture of non-reactive gas. Non-reactive gases. This is the most important. Remember, this is applicable only for non-reactive gases. What is the meaning of non-reactive gas? If two gases are there at conditions of temperature and pressure, room temperature and pressure, they should not undergo any chemical reaction. Then such a gaseous mixture is called as a non-reactive gas. Clear? Non-reactive gas means they should not undergo any chemical reaction between themselves. And if two gas molecules between them, if there is a chemical reaction taking place, then it is called reactive gases. Here the gas must be non-reactive. And for non-reactive gases, if you give some example, normally combination of noble gases like helium and then neon, both are noble gas, that will not at all undergo any chemical reaction. These are one of the example, mixture of helium and neon gas. The second example we can give helium and hydrogen gas. Third example, we can go helium gas with nitrogen gas. Remember, a noble gas with any other gas is the best example, because noble gas is not at all react with any other gases. Similarly, if we can go with the helium and oxygen gas, normally this mixture is used in our oxygen cylinders. Okay. Similarly, if you go with another example other than the noble gas, so hydrogen combinations with the oxygen at room temperature. Remember, at room temperature, hydrogen and oxygen will not at all undergo any reaction. But at high temperature, or if it passes any current, then water will be generated. At high temperature, water will be generated. But we are talking at room temperature. So hydrogen and oxygen gas is the best. Another example. The sixth example we can give, here it is found to be nitrogen and oxygen mixture. So nitrogen and oxygen mixture is the best example. Even though at room temperature they will not undergo reaction, but at high temperature, around 500 Kelvin temperature, nitrogen and oxygen reacted produces nitrogen monoxide. But at room temperature is not undergo any chemical reactions. Okay. So not only nitrogen and oxygen, we can add hydrogen also. Either a gaseous mixture contains two gas or more than two gas. Okay. So these are the few examples for non-reactive gas. But I will give one more example. I have ammonia gas. At the same time, I have hydrochloric acid gas. Both are gas. Ammonia is a gas. HCl is a gas. Pure HCl is a gas. Now tell me whether this mixture, gas mixture, is comes under non-reactive or reactive mixture. Here it is observed that this is not a non-reactive, this is reactive mixture. Why? Because ammonia and HCl, they reacted even at room temperature such that ammonia take one hydrogen becomes ammonium ion, NH4 plus, and Cl come out as a Cl minus. And ammonium and chlorine combination gives ammonium chloride as a salt. As a result, if you take ammonia and HCl in a one container, if it is placed at room temperature, and after some time if you find ammonia and HCl is not there, that is converted to what? Ammonium chloride as a salt that is collected at the bottom of that particular vessel. So ammonia and HCl are not example for reactive, non-reactive gases. Similarly, we can go with one more example. We have a PH3. PH3 nothing but phosphine. Okay, and another one is, let us say, HCl, hydrochloric acid. Phosphine is a gas, HCl is also gas, and this is also not an example for non-reactive gases. These are reactive gases. Why? Because PH3 and HCl combination gives PH4Cl called phosphonium chloride. Again, it is a salt. Such that Dalton's law is applicable only for non-reactive gases, not for reactive gases. So this is the one thing that we have to remember. And let us go with what it says. What is the statement of this Dalton's law? It says that if a mixture contains more than one gases, then total pressure shown by that mixture of gas is exactly equal to sum of the individual pressure shown by the gas molecule. So according to Dalton's law, what it says, if a mixture of gas present in the container, total pressure shown by all these gases is exactly equal to sum of the pressure shown by individual gases. Okay, that is observed at constant temperature. Okay, so it says that total pressure of a mixture of gas. Here, total pressure of a mixture of gas. A mixture of gas is the sum of partial pressure of individual gas. Partial pressure of individual gas. So that is observed at a constant temperature. So this is the statement. Total pressure of a mixture of gas is exactly equal to the sum of, nothing but addition of partial pressure of individual gas. What is the meaning of partial pressure? Partial pressure means individual pressure. Pressure shown by individual gas in a mixture is nothing but partial pressure. And if write it in mathematical equation form, P stands for, capital letter P stands for total pressure, or we can say P total is exactly equal to small letter p stands for partial pressure. Let us say partial pressure shown by the first gas, and P1, P2 is the partial pressure shown by the second gas. Let us say P3 is the partial pressure shown by the third gas. And let us say if a gaseous mixture contains n number of gas molecules, then total pressure is exactly equal to sum of partial pressure of individual gas. So this is the mathematical relation. P total equal to P1 plus P2 plus P2 plus P3 dash dash then Pn. Suppose if two gases are there, then what is the relation? Suppose two gases are present in our side, say gas number 1 and gas number 2. Then what is the total pressure? P total. Total pressure exactly equal to partial pressure shown by the first gas plus partial pressure shown by the second gas. As well, P1 plus P2 exactly equal to P total. That means if you know the individual pressure shown by the gas molecule in that mixture, sum of that individual pressure exactly equal to total pressure. And normally total pressure is expressed, or you can measure it using one instrument, and that is called barometer. So barometer is used to express or used to measure the total pressure. Total pressure of a gaseous mixture is identified using one instrument called as a barometer. And if you know total pressure, individual pressure can be calculated. So this is an important relation. And here also some relations are there. How to find out the partial pressure? Remember one relation. Partial pressure equal to mole fraction into total pressure. This is another relation also. P stands for partial pressure. Partial pressure. Okay, pressure shown by individual gas. P total nothing but you know already total pressure. Total pressure of a mixture of gas. And then X stands for, remember, mole fraction. It is called mole fraction. Okay, mole fraction. X stands for mole fraction. And using this, it is possible to find individual pressure of a mixture of gas. And mole fraction depends on number of moles of all the gases present. Number of moles of all the gases present. So like that, it is possible to find that it is called as a Dalton's law of partial pressure. Students, let us go with how to find the mole fraction. Already we find X stands for mole fraction of a particular gas. How to find the mole fraction of a gas? So there is one formula, very simple. Actually, mole fraction tells about the ratio of total number of moles in the denominator, but in the numerator, number of individual moles. Okay, number of moles of individual gas. Okay, so this is the basic relation also to find out the mole fraction. So mole fraction is it has name indicate fraction nothing but ratio of what? Moles divided by mole. What is that mole? Mole of the individual gas to the moles of all the gas present. Okay, so simply mole fraction is the ratio of the number of moles of individual component to the total number of moles of all the component present in the mixture. Here gas present. Okay, so if you want to calculate, let us say a gaseous mixture contains two gases. Let us say a mixture of gas contains two gases, 1 and 2. Then X1 is the mole fraction with respect to first gas, X2 is the mole fraction with respect to second gas. How to find out the X1? It is very simple. X1 equal to mole fraction of the first gas exactly equal to number of moles of the first gas divided by total number of moles of all the gas. All the gas means first and second gas. That means total number of moles of first gas as well as second gas. So X1 equal to N1 divided by N1 plus N2. N1 plus N2 tells about total number of moles of all the gas. Similarly, X2 equal to mole fraction of second gas exactly equal to number of moles of second gas divided by total number of moles of all the gas. N1 plus N2. Okay, so it is possible to find the mole fraction using number of moles. And you know already in mole concept you find number of moles nothing but what? Mass divided by molecular mass using this relation. Mass divided by molecular mass. By knowing the mass of first gas and their molecular mass, similarly second gas, it is possible to find mole fraction. And always remember, sum of the mole fraction of all the gases exactly equal to 1. Okay, X1 plus X2 is exactly equal to 1. And what is the significance of that? If the sum of the mole fraction of all the gas, if it is exactly equal to 1, then we come to know that that gaseous mixture will be homogeneous. So that will be homogeneous. What is the meaning of homogeneous gas mixture? Uniform distribution of all the gas in that available volume also. So for homogeneity, uniform mixing of gases, sum of the mole fraction of the gas must be 1. As a result, using this relation, it is an advantage. What is the advantage? If we know mole fraction of the one of the gas, second gas can be find out. So that is X2 equal to 1 minus X1. Or if you know mole fraction of the second gas, it is possible to find first gas. How to find? X1 equal to 1 minus X2. Or X2 equal to 1 minus X1. Or X2 equal to 1 minus X1. So like that, it is possible to find. Okay. So here X2 equal to 1 minus X1. Or we can go with X1 equal to 1 minus X2. So using this relation, if you know mole fraction of the one gas, other one can be identified very easily. So this is with respect to the Dalton's law of partial pressure. Students, let us see how to find the pressure of a dry gas from pressure of moist gas. It is observed that if you carry a chemical reaction, if a gas is collected, normally in that gas some water vapor is present. So whatever the gas that is collected during experiment, that is not a dry gas, not a pure gas. In that some water vapor or we can say moisture is present. But we need pressure of a pure gas, that is nothing but a dry gas. So how to find out the pressure of dry gas? Let us say I have one reaction, let us say we have a magnesium. What happens when magnesium reacts with hydrochloric acid in water as a solvent, aqueous medium? There is a possibility of a reaction. What is that? Magnesium chloride is generated along with the hydrogen gas is liberated. Okay, hydrogen gas is liberated. But the entire reaction taking place in water as a solvent. As a result, whatever the hydrogen gas is collected, along with that hydrogen gas, some water molecule or vapor also present. As a result, this hydrogen gas now called as a moist gas. This is called as a moist gas and it has a certain pressure and that can be measured using barometer instrument. But I need pressure of a hydrogen gas, not a moist hydrogen gas. For that what to do? We have to subtract the pressure of water present in that vapor. As a result, if you wanted to calculate pressure of a dry gas, then take the pressure of a moist gas, then we have to subtract that with one term, that is pressure of a moisture, that is water, and that is called as a F, and here F stands for aqueous tension. It is called aqueous tension. Okay, so the pressure of dry gas is exactly equal to pressure of moist gas minus F, and that F stands for aqueous tension. Aqueous tension nothing but pressure shown by the saturated water vapor. Pressure of saturated water vapor. Saturated water vapor. What is the meaning of saturation? No further any evaporation. Okay, so maximum extent already that water is present in that particular gas. So as that pressure of dry gas equal to moist gas minus surface aqueous tension. Aqueous tension nothing but pressure shown by the saturated water vapor, and this value is always fixed at particular temperature, and by subtracting that value with the pressure of moist gas, pressure of dry gas is observed. And this dry gas is selected while solving problem in case of a Dalton's law. So that is the other point where we have to remember. Students, let's go for the fifth the gas law, that is Graham's law of diffusion. It is also called one more name, Graham's law for rate of diffusion. Okay, what is meant by diffusion? Remember, diffusion is nothing but movement. This is applicable for gas. If a gas molecules are moving from one region to another region, then that flow is nothing but the term called as a diffusion. Similarly, ions molecules are moving in a solution called as a migration. Okay, so here gas molecules are moving, that is why that movement is technically called as a word diffusion. So according to Graham's law, it says that rate of a diffusion, rate nothing but speed or velocity, that depends on inversely proportional to the square root of molar mass or a density at constant temperature. A very simple statement. But it says the rate of a diffusion of a particular gas is inversely proportional to the square root of the molecular mass or a density at constant temperature. So this is a statement given by the Graham's law, and this is based on the experimental result. Okay, So if you write it in terms of a relation, R is symbol for the rate. Rate R directly proportional to 1 by square root of m. M nothing but molar mass. Or in terms of density, direct proportional 1 by square root of density. Either in terms of molecular mass or in terms of density. M stands for molecular mass or D stands for density. Suppose the two gases are present. Let us say 1 and 2. It may be helium, oxygen, nitrogen, carbon dioxide, like that. If two different gases are present, then what about the Grom's law? If you apply that relation, R1 direct proportional 1 by square root of m1, R2 direct proportional 1 by square root of m2, and if you take a common value, if you divide 1 by 2, then what you get? R1 by R2 equal to square root of m2 divided by m1 or whole square root of m2 divided by m1. Suppose if you take in terms of density, whole square root of d2 by d2 by d1 also. So this is a very important formula. From that the problems normally comes to the examination. Okay, molecular mass of second gas divided by first gas, here whole square root. Okay, so let us see another important part, modified form. You know, rate nothing but velocity, nothing but speed, nothing but velocity divided by time taken. Rate nothing but velocity divided by time. Okay, velocity divided by time, as that v divided by t is the symbol. As that wherever rate present, write it as a velocity by time. So velocity by time, direct proportional 1 by square root of m. Suppose two gases are there, then v1 by t1 whole divided by v2 by t2 is exactly equal to square root of m2 by m1. Or if you reintegrate, v1 t2 divided by v2 into t1. So this t2 goes to numerator, v1 goes to denominator. So v1 t2 by v2 into t1 into whole square root of m2 by m1. So this is also very important relation. And then this is in another modified form, that is in terms of density. Okay, suppose a gas are moving with the same time, then T1 and T2 cancel, then what is left? V1 by V2 left. Similarly, if a gas move with the same velocity, what about the rate of diffusion? V1 and V2 equal, then V2 by V1 direct proportional to square root of M2 by M1. That means these are the modified form, are important for the competitive examination point of view. So that is about the different gas laws.